let's do a little bit of an audio check. How's the audio balance for you guys? In-game sound versus mic audio. Test, audio balance check. All right, audio balance adjusted a little bit. Let's give that a try for now. All right, welcome to AIST, the bot side of the tournament that was played a few weeks ago. We've been delaying all of this due to CIG, but now we're ready to play them. There's a bracket link that has spoilers as the results are already released, but we're going to go through the games one at a time. First up, we have Steamhammer versus Mad Mix. And we'll go in here and we'll have game one on Third World. And we have the nice fun zoom features of SCR. Alright, in the bottom left corner, spawning as orange, we have Steamhammer. And at the top right, we have Mad Mix. Red, Protoss. This map is Third World, which is sort of a strange one and very challenging for the bots. You have sort of a single exit tile area right here, which often has caused map analysis problems for most of the authors. Along with the map is essentially split along a 45-degree angle here across the map, where only the bottom section is easily passable, and you have to do mineral walk in order to get to the top section. We'll speed up here slightly. We've got a lot of games to do while we go through the opening stages of the match. We've got Steamhammer with what is essentially a 7 hatchery opener, which is very odd and perhaps uniquely coded for this map specifically. This map doesn't have a very long base-to-base distance. Actually, all of the AIST maps do. For those who are not aware, the AIST maps are all based on the recent ASL Pro season, and one of the goals of the AIST is to replicate a pro-style tournament as much as reasonably possible for the bots. So pro-style maps, pro-style latency, and similar tournament structure. Alright, looks like we've got an all-in Zealot build from Mad Mix of sorts, and a pretty high ling count here from Steamhammer, which with speed being researched. So pretty much an all-in ling build, a 2-hatch ling build, versus an all-in Zealot opener. Ooh, the fight on the ramp. And with the probe holding there, I'm not sure if it actually did anything there. A little fight down here. And it looks like Mad Mix is going to go and drop another pylon, perhaps expand to the natural. So we've got all-in wing pressure versus all-in Zeds. Uh-oh. got a bug here for Steamhammer trying to go into the unpassable area. That's not so good. We can turn some of this off here. Oh. There we go. I'll keep the replay panel going here. Alright. Just so you can see the bottom of the map in this weird position. At any rate, it looks like we have Mass Zealots, who is doing pretty well, versus Mass Lings. You got 4-gate Zealots versus 2 Hatchery Lings. Zerg can't produce enough. Essentially, and you're pretty well doomed. You can do 3 Hatchery Lings versus Mass Zealots. The 2 Hatchery is sort of eventually a falling proposition. We'll speed up here. It looks like this is pretty obvious how this is going to go. Are those Zealots going to go and attack? We better speed it up. Oh, they're just camping the natural, camping away. Oh. Are they gonna go? Yes, they get dragged into the main base, and that's the end of this game. Well, or is it? They have retreated to the natural again. Come on, Zealots. Go, Zealots. Oh, the drone Dragon Man, and that's really gonna be the end of it. Let's grab the second game of this match. These are best out of 3s for the early matches, then best of 5 finals. Game 2 is going to be on Transistor. And we've got Mad Mix as Protoss, of course, in the bottom right, and Steamhammer mid-left as Zerg, like the previous game. This map is sort of interesting. You've got dual entrances here, and they're central, and then your natural base is up here in this area. Kind of a unique structure, and a fairly interesting map to play on. We've got a fairly aggressive wing build here again from Steamhammer. And I spot checked the replays on SCR and they seem to be pretty good. And this is going to be a quick win for Steamhammer based on a wing rush. So it looks like Mad Mix tried to do sort of a quick tech build versus 2 hatchery all-in wings and Kirschblatt. Game 3. Alright, now we got our first game here on Sparkle, which is a pure island with extra special snowflakes. As far as features go, we've got Mad Mix spawning Protoss, purple here on the left, and Steamhammer spawning a Zerg here on the top, on the north side. Looks like Steamhammer is going to get a wrong scout to start with. That's sort of a little bit unlucky. Sort of fast forward a little bit through the early stage. What do we have here? A quick wing build, quick pool. Looks like one hatch new list is open. And what build are we going to have here from Protoss? We're going to have a Nexus First opener. So we've got a quick lair tech opener versus a quick expand opener. And then Steamhammer takes the expand. Did this sort of inefficiently, but that's probably going to be fine. So will Protoss get defenses up in time is the question. These mutas are going to be pretty quick. Though they're not as quick as they possibly could be. You could have mutas out at 520, so these are a little slow. Alright, so Steamhammer is going to be able to clear the natural side disruptor. Alright, so we've got the mutas are out. They're probably going to reach the enemy base here right at 6 flat, and we do have main cannons, but no natural cannons, which is unfortunate. Let's see what the mutas do here. That's a lot of cannons. So I can be able to hold the main, but will Steamhammer notice that the natural is exposed? I'm not sure. Steamhammer is taking the natural gas, it does have code for that. So Steamhammer does find this expansion and clear it. It's 2x speed. It looks like he had code to clear this lair, but distracted by Mutalisk here. So Steamhammer is raising. Just still sticking on the muter plan, all in mutas. And shuttles for Mad Mix as well. Ooh, suicided all the mutas, most of the mutas there to the cannons. But still clearing this expansion here slowly. And Zerg is getting an Evo chamber. A little bit of nice harassment there, picking off the probes from them. And we got the first carrier out from Mad Mix. That's sort of interesting. To go straight for carriers. Ooh, loses the carrier to the Scourge. And Mad Mix is slowly getting this expansion going again and building more carriers. We got 2 in production. And we're getting faster overboard movement from Zerg. So he's going to suicide an Overlord here, which is sort of interesting. And he does get a shuttle there with the Scourge. Oh, and Zerg is indeed taking this 3rd base and going to be working on that 3rd gas and going for Queen's Nest. Trying to clear the natural side disruptor. And we're going up to Hive for Zerg. Here come the... Oh, gets another carrier. And Zerg is up to Hive. Will it go to Devourers as well? Doing more damage to the expansion. Oh, we've got drop expanding for Mad Mix down here on the bottom side. That's pretty impressive. Not very many bots, I don't think, have that. Here come the carriers. Still trying to clear that size drop, but persistent on that front, that's for sure. Lost a ton of probes in the course of this game. For some reason, killing its own drones with mutas, which I'm not really sure about. That's sort of interesting. I don't know. I don't trust the SCR replay viewer to manage things correctly. We may actually have a bug. I'm a little concerned here. Let me fast forward on the replay here and check it. Oh, and it crashes. Alright, give me a second. Let me load up S 1.16 here quickly. And we'll finish up that replay. I think that one is kind of buggy. Difficulties in trying to do stuff with some of these replays with the bots are a little interesting. Especially on this map set. Alright, so you're going to have to deal with a little bit of 1.16 here for a bit. And we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here in time. Catch back up. Yeah, I do have rep fix enabled, but some of these are still a little buggy. Alright, we're right after, so the third base gets taken. I think we're right about it here somewhere. So there's still this fight over the third base. Carrier's out. Slow it down here a bit. So looks less bugged. Hard to say sometimes if it's the bot or if the replay is bugged. This replay may be shot. See if they recover and keep going or not. Nah, this one looks like it's shot too. Sort of in the same place, it bugs out and dies. Looks dead. I have other tools to go through and try and fix them, but OpenBW doesn't really support Sparkle, I don't believe. But we can try and load it up here. Let me just check it real quick. Sorry for the issue here. May end up switching back and forth between a couple different replay viewers to try and get all of these to go, unfortunately. Let's see how this looks. You know what? It actually plays in OpenBW. So, one moment. We'll switch over to this temporarily. Play inside of this. Nope. Let's see if I can capture another way. Okay. We're going to have to do it like this because the window capture and all of that is non-functional for whatever reason. Joys of doing bot tournaments. All right, here we go. Let's fast forward over 13 minutes to where we were. I think this was patched so that it works now. It didn't work at the time that it was released. Alright. So, MadMix is taking an expand here at third base, which is excellent. And is continuing to clear. Trying to clear at any rate, so he can place and use this. We've got Carriers versus Muta Scourge, and Steamhammer has a bunch of Mutas hanging out, flying around here, trying to do a little bit of harassment. It's hard to say who's going to come out ahead in this sort of contest, just looking at it from this perspective. Yeah, the rendering bug, now that the side disruptor has been destroyed, this is fine. Mutas are continuing to clear. Though a little bit of back and forth here. Scourge Muta does really well versus carriers that are unsupported by Corsairs. Doing pretty well versus it. But MadMix has a space down here. And Steamhammer is not interfering with that in any way. Nor does it know about it. There's the carrier. Gets the shuttle also. They're doing pretty well. Looks like they might clear this expansion. They're gonna almost get another shuttle. Clear Corsair. Start going to work on the cannons, but there's probably too many of them at this point. Admix's third base there is still sort of plodding away. But supply is heavily favoring, supply and workers is heavily favoring Steamhammer at this stage. We've got a Guardian morphing here, which is excellent. Gonna kill a bunch of probes. And Madmix actually takes another base hit here. Madmix is able to clear the Guardians, because the mutants are off doing who knows what. It doesn't appear that Steamhammer actually ends up taking the third gas, which is sort of important for Zerg on this map. And fairly soon, we're going to be looking at depletion for geysers for Zerg. We're at 20 minutes. It does now eventually scout these extra bases of Madmix. But I think gas is going to be a big problem here. I think we're already depleted. Guardians come over, actually do a good job of harassing that expansion. Unfortunately, it's then suiciding to the carrier. Steamhammer needs Devourers and needs them bad. A little bit of indecisiveness here on both sides. Base. And Steamhammer is mined out. Does Madmix eventually attack here? Yep. Madmix is bugged also, but he does have this carrier out doing its work here, making progress. Eventually, I think this replay may have a little bit of bugginess to it as well on Open Brood War. Eventually, though, Madmix does clean up and kill all of Steamhammer's units or workers, and that is the end of this game. Ooh. One moment. There we go. Alright. Let's go see if we can get back to the normal way of doing this where the games are not quite as buggly. So, Madmix wins match 1, set 1. And for the second set, we have McRae versus Shmoo on Third World. Alright. So we have Shmoo spawning in the top, bottom left, and McRae spawning in the top right. This will be a PvP on Third World. Shmoo. Unless there's another way of saying it. Or TSC Moo. Alright, we've got looks like a tech opener here from McRae. I wonder if they're going to do Zealot Core Zealot or Zealot Core, or what do we got here? So this looks like a Z Core Z, or a Core Z, sorry, opener, versus, looks like another Core Z opener, just timed a little bit differently here. second gateway from Grave. And we have the Zealot Micro Wars with a little bit of help from the workers here. Grave retreats. We've got 2 Gateway of Goon, essentially versus a 1 Gateway Robo second Gateway build. Watch the fight here. See how they do micro-wise. Both pretty good. It's a little hard to say. Grave comes out slightly ahead in that exchange. Alright, so we've got 3 gateway OBS build versus, it looks like, 3 gateway Robo. So McRae gets a little bit of an edge here because there's no DTs being played. So this is actually going to be a 4 gateway Goon build here from Shmoo. It looks like this worker's trying to go do something, but it's blocked. It's kind of a nice contain here, preventing expansion. And we have another gateway, so it's going to be 5 gateway all-in Goons. Speed up here while we watch and see how it turns out. It's an attempt at it expands. These workers are a little bit over-adventurous, trying to do things outside the base when they're not really needed. We do have the first observer going for scout. Unfortunately, a little bit of probe suicide. Actually, McRae takes a few too many shots there at the workers, and even though he's ahead on goons, he doesn't start that fight off very well. It ends up being about a tie as far as brawl goes. That said, McRae is up slightly on supply, likely has better economics due to that. Interesting, pretty close goon fights. Grave might have a tiny edge. It's hard to say. Grave taking expansion here. And Shmoo taking one almost at the same exact time. Back and forth, so now we're up to 60 by 44. Though the real killer here is these 2 Reavers. As soon as these get here, Shmoo's in a lot of trouble, even with all the good production. Trying to go for legs, which is sort of an interesting choice with so many gateways. An egg, that's strange. And now Shmoo's been pushed back, and you've got Reavers incoming here. And as soon as you get pushed back up this little ramp, you're in a lot of trouble, because it's very, very difficult to get down here again. Tries to do a little bit of pathing up through the blockable area. And now you've got Reavers included here with the push. And that's just really rough to get down that again. This expansion's in trouble. That said, it's also very difficult to push up this too. It's possible to lose quite a few units doing so. And that is a lot of gateways. It's way more than you can support with that mining income. only building two at a time, but there's 6 there. And can continue to build pylons when very far behind on supply is sort of interesting. Be better off as combat units. So that's actually get a pretty decent surround there, but the unit numbers are so one-sided in player's favor. It won't matter too much, I don't think. And yeah, here comes the death push. The grave takes base in the bottom right, which is a good call. Some strange worker pathing, but not horrific. And this is eventually going to clear this space out. Good game by both. Pretty close there, especially with the goon micro at different stages. This will be game 2 for these two. So McRave this time is spawning in the bottom left, and Shmoo is spawning in the bottom right. The top right is blue. So it looks like sort of fun progress there from McRave. That's pretty interesting. Causes a lot of missed mining time. And we got Core Z and sort of a 1 gateway into 2 gateway opener there. This is really fairly standard normal PvP opener stuff. Just a little bit of chest back and forth. I think that McRave's opener gives him a slight edge in this case. Though Shmoo comes out ahead there on that first little goon fight, though this other goon appears to be stuck. Now McRave is ahead on goons. So Shmoo once again goes for the safe observer play versus DTs. And McRave sort of gets ahead on the build-loader side of things here for the mid-game by skipping out on detection and going straight. Through to Reavers and guns. Pretty close on supply. It's identical. Spin battles are pretty interesting. So walk in, take a few shots. Graves doing my grade is really pretty good. Yeah, well, the tournament results have been released, so I'm not too worried about trying to hide what's occurring. Most of the people that are interested have already seen it already. But we still get to watch the games and enjoy them. Alright. Supplies are almost identical. Just a lot of goon back and forth. So many gateways. It's interesting to have so many gateways, and like right now no goons are queued. 0 with 5. There's 1 goon in queue and all this production. Reaver. really the Reaver pushes their damage here. Some production issues, Shmooze and economic problems. And at this point, this is a pretty well done game. It's interesting that, you know, it continues to build production and tech. Interesting. Double Reaver push. So Shmoo will go down to the loser's bracket, and McRae will progress on here. And next we will have Purple Swarm versus Mad Mix. First game of those two. Alright, this is on Transistor. Mad Mix spawning as Protoss, bottom left. And Purple Swarm spawning as Zerg, top right. Mr. Dan decided to play Zerg for this tournament. Alright, and the Swarm is actually going to get an off scout here to start in the wrong direction, unfortunately. A drone trick into pool here. And the Lings are actually going to go the incorrect direction, unfortunately, which, based on the number of 0 zealots that Mad Mix has, bode well for Purple Swarm. But, you know, if you don't build any combat units by 3 minutes versus a Zerg, unfortunately, bad things happen to you. Alright. So now we have Purple Swarm spawning a Zerg at the top. This is Sparkle, the island map that we saw earlier. And we have Mad Mix spawning on the bottom as Protoss. Let's see what they run here for openers. Looks like a 1-base tech build of some sort for Mad Mix. And Purple Swarm is also doing a 1-base build. Is this a 13 pool of some kind? And I'm not sure what good the Zealot does early, but maybe it's emotional support. So these mutas are going to be quick, very quick. And he's able to take the gas here on the rocks, which is wonderful. So Protoss is really going to need some cannons here, or anti-air in a hurry, because these mutas are going to be out. They're going to be mean. Here they come. Oh, and it's 6 in a bunch too. That's pretty impressive. There they come. And are there any cannons? So these minutes usually here by 550, and there is a cannon. It's just one. The second one. Third cannon going up. More cannons going out. Will it be enough? And the mutas are unfortunately into the probes. Poor little Protoss. They're struggling. Purple Swarm running its 22,000 APM here, doing Muta Micro. And that's quite a few cannons. So now this is sort of stabilized. You've got Mass Muta versus the Cannon Party. And it looks like the Mutas have not found the expansion yet. They do a little bit of diving on the cannon, and they get that one. I'm going to pick this other one off. It appears so, yeah, you get the other one. Lose a couple Mutas in the process. Do a little bit of spreading there versus the Corsairs. Interesting. Sort of freaking out here. Getting a lot of damage from the Corsairs. Swarm is working on its third gas and carcass upgrades, which is pretty important versus air. Looks like we may have a bugged game again, unfortunately. I'm going to take a look here. Speed it up. And yes, it does indeed appear to be bugged. Mad Mix is killing its own buildings, which is always a bad sign. I'm going to go ahead and load the replay up and load the program here quick. And swap it over, and let's see if we can watch it. Down, swap it over. There we go. Alright. Catch back up to where we were. Alright. Watch Attack of the Muta round 2. Muta bugs. I wonder if the game is desynced. It appears that the game is desynced again. Let me load it up on 1.16. This is sort of the problem with a lot of these replays with these bots with huge APM. They're a little bit spotty sometimes with dealing with the replays. Replays have never really been terribly reliable. Alright, let's speed this up, see how we do. Alright, see if this replay bugs as well. Or if it's continues to we pick off individual cannons. It has to do with the combination of the maps, which are not really very well supported on OpenVW, as well as bots are not really supported in SCR either, and you can also get decent range issues in 1.16 as well. Quite a lot of lost leadership. Acting very intelligent. Actually, I wonder... Oh, it's still building here. Maybe we're not bugged. But it sure looks like we are. Appears that they're not building here. I'm running replay fix, by the way. These are just buggy. So it appears that this replay is bugged. I did watch all of these live in real time, so I can promise you that Purple Swarm does indeed go on to win this one. Yeah, so we've watched in all three replay tools, and they're all messed up. All right, let's go back to Starcraft SCR, and we'll go take a look at the next set. Set 4 is Shmoo versus Steamhammer. Yeah, the problems of technology and a game engine that was not designed for this sort of stuff. Yeah, it's still, like Mr. Dan says, it's still amazing to me that OpenBW works at all. It's amazing. One of the most amazing pieces of software I have ever seen. So this is in the losers bracket, the first game, with Shmoo versus Steamhammer, and these two bots have never played before. This will be on Transistor. Yeah, if you ever want to see an example of semi-savant programming, go look at how OpenBW is made. It'll give your eyeballs a heart attack. Oh, 1 second. Let me fix the blackness. Alright. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, so you got Shmoo here going for opener. So it makes a cannon and cancels it, which is sort of strange, and then tries to guard it, I guess, versus wings. Right, but here comes Steamhammer with the wing pile. And these cannons are late and misplaced as well. That's pretty scary. Go, Probe Micro. Fight. Death by tickles. Alright. We got a cannon coming up. Is it going to be enough? Alright, Steamhammer is still on a 2-hatch wing only. Yep, you did cancel the cannon. Perhaps not the greatest idea versus Zerg. Alright. We got wings sort of hanging out. Versus mass cannon here. What's Zerg gonna do? Droning up. It's decided that maybe the cannons are going off. The problem with this cannon right here is it doesn't really cover this top base. So we got a 3rd hatchery and more wings being produced. How's that looking? I wonder if these wings kill that zealot if they just get right up there into the main. So Steamhammer's taking more bases. It looks like going Hydras with Carapace, which is strange. You don't normally do Carapace with Hydras. It's a little odd. You normally do ranged weapons. It's a lot of cannons though, and they have a little more ramp coverage than they did with the Zealots. And there we got Lair Tech. 9 drones in production. That's droning pretty hard. No need for combat units yet. And we got the first 2 Hydras in production. A bunch of Hydras in production. And there comes the first Corsair. That's some pretty spazzy Corsair Overlord chasing, but it's working. Gets it. Now Steam Hammer is supply blocked. Uh-oh, and I think the replay has bugged out. Check this out. We are shooting our own cannons. That might be a problem. I think that's a bug. Oh, the loveliness of dealing with replays. I'm just curious how this goes. Does it really shoot at all of its own units in this replay? And its own Corsair. Oh, that's pretty great. Alright, so I'm going to pause this and switch over to OpenVW and let's watch it in there. Oh, the fun problems. Alright, let's fast forward. I wonder if it cancels on this version, so let's go here. Yeah, I think it did. So that was a little quick. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna think I might stick with OpenVW. Tried to do SCR, did some spot checking, and some of them were good, but just weird stuff. If you shoot your own cannons in the replay, something is strange. So this is actually looking like a fairly even game. You know, 3 pace Zerg versus a 2 base Protoss. Pretty even. Tries to kite up the ramp. Doesn't go real well. Nice sort of avoidance of the Hydra while killing the Overlords. Alright, now we've got Storm and Archons out. The Steam Hammer's army size is actually pretty small, but it does have decent econ here. It just needs a lot of Hydralists, which it doesn't really have. I'm gonna cut and kill these Zealots. We've got, Corsairs, killing Overlords. Does build some Scourge, which is good, but some of them. There's 2 Scourge right there, but they don't seem to be able to make it over to the Corsairs. Death by Corsairs, and we're going to attack here on the 3rd, which Steam Hammer's not going to be able to stop. This isn't looking good. Down to 9 workers, 8 army supply versus all the Zealots. Protoss is essentially unfazed at this point. Still trying to play, but struggling. game 1. Alright, here's game 2. Game 2 is also on transistor. Oh, actually, did we already watch this one? So I've got a bug here. Let's see if I can find the correct. Got a bug that I gotta fix. Trying to load the same replay again. 1 second. Here we go. Sorry about that. Here we go. Alright, we've got our first game on Gladiator. Apologize for that. Alright, there we go. So, Shmu's going to go with the fast expansion build, and Steamhammer is also going to do an FE. Fast expansion build for Zerg, but it's a similar strange 7 hatchery opener, which is quite unusual for Zerg to try. It's a super defensive opener. Though Steamhammer does get a scout in and actually takes a central map hatchery before canceling it, which is extraordinarily strange. Like Steamhammer is doing a lot of adaptation, but not really committing in one direction or another. Is it going for lurker upgrades, or what's it doing here? Nope. Decides that it wants a spy eventually, but it's like bought half the tech tree. Strangely, so it's the newbie Zerg build, but then adapted into something else. First actual fight here. Bunch of zealots versus fighters. The Scourge are trying to chase the Corsairs, not so hard at that. Oh, they eventually got one. And it's sort of an outdated, really strange build order. And really this is just a small zealot attack, but because Steamhammer started with such a strange opener and then adapted it like 3 different times through adaptation phases, we don't really have a lot of much as far as army size went. Looks like at this point this is unrecoverable. Shmuel gets third, and there's really not enough drones left here to compete, and that's going to be the end of Steamhammer for this matchup. Alright, let's go ahead to Series 5, which is going to be Mad Mix versus Shmu, who moved on from the previous matchup. Alright, and we have Gladiator again. Mad Mix is Protoss spawning in the top left, and Shmu in bottom right spawning Protoss as well. So we have PvP in cross positions, which generally encourages macro openers. It's very difficult to kill people across this long distance. So we have a Zealot Core build, maybe Zealot Core Zealot from Madmix, and a Core Z build from Schmoot open. So Schmoot's going to get the quicker goon here. But Madmix is doing sort of a Zealot, one-gate Zealot expansion, which is really risky, but it could pay off handsomely. It's just sort of hard to say. The real question is, how much pressure does this goon put on? It seems to almost get stuck trying to do a little bit of chasing. Not very efficient goon micro in general from Shmoo. But it's Zealots versus goons. This doesn't normally bode well. Unless you're a pretty good Zealot micro or willing to chase. Probes are coming out, trying to do a little bit of harassment here. It's a fair number of Zealots, but they gotta put some work in here. And it's not gonna be easy. Madmix is up on supply, but it's just building straight Zealots at this point. Does not have blades. So ahead on supply, but behind in tech. Alright, and they've sort of stalled out here while they wait for the next stage to start. Alright, here we go. So Madmix has taken a third base without goons or any tech at all. We're just doing man Zealots, man. All in Zealot power. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. It's a lot of Zealots, though. It really depends on how well it pins here. And that's actually a pretty good situation here. You can get some good hits. But now there's DTs out for Shmoo, so this is not going to be lethal by any means. And it does get some cannons out, which is good for the DT. And that attack was not really cost effective. Now Shmoo's going to be up almost team supply, taking a third, and a head attack. And the worker count is now even. And this third base really has nothing to defend it at this stage. It's sort of just going to get murdered here. Do the DT, another attack, she can't really engage that. So if he decides to fight under cannons, which is perhaps unwise, and we do finally have goons out. And she sort of squandered a little bit of its lead by fighting in those cannons, perhaps a bit too much. But it still has a large lead. The counts are still relatively even, and we do have a reserve or two. So this Madmix is suiciding the occasion there, which is very unwise. Taking a fourth, and still ahead on track, doing well. And builds and cancels some cannons, sort of weirdly. Actually does have the army lead here, and it does have an observer out, so this push could do something. It really needs to take out one of Shmoo's bases to have a chance. Where are the observers going? There's one. He needs to come down here and help. And sort of hang out with this army, but not with the one that needs it. That push gets stalled out by DT. the way back into his main, which causes people to overestimate how easy it is to break him and commit to the fight, and then the army comes from the main. Sort of interesting. So at this point, Shmu's lead here is just insurmountable. There's too many units. That's rough. Too much. And it looks like Shmu is going to take game 1 of the 5th part of the series here. At this point, it just has to clean up. And eventually clean this up. Alright. So let's watch the second game of Madmix versus Shmu. Alright, and this one will be on Transistor with Madmix spawning in the bottom right and Shmu spawning in the middle left. And it looks like we have okay, like sort of interesting placement from Shmu. And Madmix goes for the quick expansion here with no units really to speak of. Goes Goon first. Goon first. Corsair with no combat units is pretty scary as far as openers are concerned. Looking like Madmix is going to get punished by its super overly aggressive tanking here and expanding by a little bit of pressure. And I think this is going to be the beginning of the end. There we go. I'm going to try some sort of carrier build. Interesting. Oh, attack too fast and sometimes you get burned. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So for Series 6 we have Purple Swarm versus McRae. This should be pretty good. Game 1. Now, I know ahead of time that these games were problematic. So, McRave, whenever it's behind during AIST, tended to crash. And some of these games were not recoverable as far as replays are concerned. This one, I only was able to recover the replay with a little bit of extra effort on one side. At any rate, so we have Sparkle with McRave opening with a fast expansion build, and Purple Swarm doing something similar, 13 pool. We have a problem here from McRave in that the mutas are under construction and the Corsair has started, but there's no cannons yet. And mutas, if Zerg is really interested in it, they show up around 550 at a time. have to have cannons or defense farm. So McRae actually goes for 4 Zealot drop here, it looks like. But the Mutas, they're actually here by 540, which is really slick. And actually he's going to get 6 here by 550. Pretty easily. And there's only one Corsair out, there's not another construction. And unfortunately with no cannons, the prognosis is not good, Doctor. Alright, and that'll be the end of that one. Let's pull up game 2. Alright, so we're going to have, of course, Purple Swarm versus McRave again. McRave in the top right is red, and Purple Swarm on the left in orange. And this will be on Transistor, a little bit different style of map. The familiar double entrances here, which makes opening on it a little bit interesting. You gotta have sort of your own placement program to figure this out. McRave is opening with a gateway first, so double gateway opener. Looks like a 10-12. And Zerg is opening with what appears to be an overpool or a 9-pool, but gets the wrong direction here with the Lings and the Scout, just like it did in the other game. The Zealots do move off to the side here right as the Lings, 2 Lings come right in the back. It's a good catch. A little bit of Zealot pressure over here on this side. Got Lings here, really sort of lucky timing with the Lings is how this all works out. Good situation here for surrounding those Zealots, but it backs up the Ling Micro. A little bit of probe and Zealot dance here. Grave really hasn't taken any significant damage. This is, I don't know, a questionable Ling attack. It does retreat. It takes that 3rd gas, which is sort of strange. I guess it makes 1 trip there. And it does have a shield battery up from the grave. Pretty much Lings versus Zealots at this stage. McRave has a slight edge. There's a little bit of harassment there on the side. Slowly killing off some of these Zealots. Both of their micros are pretty darn good at handling these little fights. There's the late. We do have Ling speed complete now, and Lair on the way for Zerg. But you've got a Lings over here, Lings over here, a little bit of harassment on both sides. Thinks better of that attack, which is probably a good idea. Decides to take this little fight and then thinks better of it. Just pick off a Zealot pretty nicely there for 3 Lings. You got the double. This is really interesting. Having double fights like this for a lot is really quite impressive. Most spots are sort of aligned between the 2 bases. Having separate sort of combat going on is really very interesting. eventually clean up this bottom group. The top group is making some progress here. The spire has started. AIST Season 2 will likely be in January or February. I'm not quite sure which it'll be in, but it's going to happen around that. It gets around, it starts picking off these zealots, doing pretty good. You know, the Grave has almost twice Purple Swarm's supply. Swarm's still holding its own here. Cleared the secondary group here on the bottom. I don't think McGrave has enough to kill it before mutas actually pop here. Let's get a good fight there on the ramp, McGrave does. There should be enough units now here from Purple Swarm Surround here to clear this. So I do have another little fight going on over here. Very back and forth. Very close. We'll have really great small unit micro here. Really very impressive. Oh, that's just beautiful to watch. There's some wigs here snuck in on the base and goes right for the shield barrier. Almost kills it, then decides to do a little fight. Lots of probe transfer going on. It doesn't go as well as it could have there if it wins. Now we've got, well, in the meantime, McGrave has just sort of barely overcome. Numbers here in main for Purple Swarm. It's not looking good for Purple Swarm. We're getting into triples the supply tag. There are a fair number of mutas out, but you know, it's sort of this continuous stream of zealots and corsairs here coming in. And there's been down to 9 workers. It's just looking really. This is the beginning of the end. There's no recovery. Down to 5 workers and plummeting. Even with the mutas out, it's just not enough. We do a pretty good job microwave. Just sort of got to overcome and have issues with the build. And alright, let's take a look at the next one. So So the score is 1-1. This will be game 3 of this set. Alright, so now we're on to Third World. The Grave in the bottom left, and Purple Swarm spawning in the top right. We got looks like an overpool opener of some sort from Purple Swarm. And we're going to have gateways on 10 from the Grave. Though with mineral float, which is somewhat unusual for him. There's a second gateway on 12, but we've got an unusual amount of float. zealots have been routed to the workers. But that's sort of a problem for this gateway here, Alpha. It does get the zealots out, so there are 3. But it's not coming out far enough, its defense radius, to protect that other gateway. Is that something you did intentionally, or is that an accidental sort of development? Alright, so Swarm is going to go ahead and take the 3rd base in the corner. And we've got, what do we do in here for upgrades? So we do get speed. Alright. But McGrave is progressing as well here. Made a decent recovery from losing those 2 gateways early. Quite a lot of wings versus quite a lot of zealots. Really impressive small unit micro for both of these. McGraves might be slightly better. Does a really good job of recognizing when it can trap and kill a group. And Purple Storm's actually got the army edge here. Don't let the supplies fool you. If, you know, 1/3 less for Zerg is quite common, and that's considered even. This is going to be the fight of their lives for these zealots here. We've got the Propole too. That shield battery is getting a workout. Did a really good job to hold that. That was close. So what's happening here on the Zerg portion of things? So we've got a lair, a gas, 2 gases actually, but only 1 in use. And it's still on mass links. Well, that was almost a good surround, but not quite enough units. On the 1 zealot, but not quite. Just got enough wings to take on this group though. Nice sort of independent group unit micro. Really very impressive. It's some of the best stuff on the box. Rounds and kills that zealot. This Purple Storm's going to get this top group going soon also. You will surround and pick off groups of units independently. It's really good stuff. Into the match, and we just got Zealots and Goons versus Names. We're still on the warpath here at Rush City. Back and forth, but Zerg's not going to be able to break up that ramp. It's going to be much at night. So we finally do have a Spire on the way, so we're going to have more tank. Really nice back and forth with this new development micro. They're working hard here. Man, check out micro. It's good stuff. So he's producing zealots, but the zealots are trapped. He's build too many of those zealots and those mutas pop out, you might be dead. He needs goons in packs. If Purple Sword holds on here, it'll do really well. McGrave's up to 18/8. Alright, we've got the first batches of mutas popping up. There's 6 on the way here. Grave needs more goons if he's going to hold this. It's only 2 goons versus what's going to be 6 mutas. It's going to be a problem. They split off into 2 separate packs here. This is going to be interesting. Now we're combining back together. There's 8 mutas out now. Only 2 goons. These zealots may do a lot of damage, we'll see. Here they come, but the zealots are still freaking out. They're going to get some drones. Let's look at production. And McGrave is still, he's finally getting some Corsairs. Oh, and expanded. With the expansions under attack. And drone losses over here on this side. Actually, those mutas would be better served. It needs to kill off the combat units. First Corsair, 3 goons. It's only 3 goons versus 10 mutas. That's a lot of mutas. 5 goons. 1 Corsair. It's down to 9 mutas. The Swarm is really struggling with production side. It doesn't really have very many workers. 21. Back up to 10 mutas. Clearing the guns. Clearing the guns. That's good. But struggling in other areas here. This base is getting slaughtered. Doing well on the army side, not so good as far as economics go. Just keeps bleeding workers here. Those mutas have so many kills. There's no workers down here in the bottom right, which isn't good. Let's slowly kill off all those zealots instead of worrying about that dragoon with this muta. Muta are still in rampage. They're down to 10 now. We've got 3 dragoons, 12 zealots, 1 Corsair versus 11-2. Really close. Really, really close. Wow, this is quite the nail biter, actually. 10 meters, but those workers just keep getting pulverized. Down to 16 now, keeps transferring them down. So we've got 1, 11, 4 full goons, 1 Corsair versus 11 meters. So it still has the edge, but it's fallen behind on army supply. 8 goons. This isn't good. 8 goons, 2 Scourge. That's not going to be enough to hold it. Okay. And this third base is going to go down. And unfortunately, the Muta's number's dropping. It's not looking good. 6 versus 12 goons, that's going to be it. So, Purple Swarm's going to lose this one, and Nailbiter, and McRave will move on. Yep, that puts McRave into the finals and puts Purple Swarm down into the loser's bracket to play Shmoo. Alright, let's go take a look at that one. So this will be the losers round 3. So it'll be the last round in the losers bracket. So Purple Swarm versus Shmoo on Sparkle. We have Purple Swarm as purple in the left, top left, and Shmoo as blue here in the bottom right. Let's see what openings they go for here. So actually, uh-oh, Shmoo, you've got a problem. You sent 2 workers to build something, now 3 workers, and stuff ain't happening. That's not good. Oh, and it eventually figures out something's wrong and builds a Nexus, but this is not gonna bode well. That's a major long-term impact of this problem. Purple Swarm doing its 13 pool thing again. Shmoo having all sorts of problems building things. The timing's all off because of the Nexus delay. And Purple Swarm is indeed in its home color, which might be lucky. We'll see. Shmoo is indeed. They started upgrades here. It started +1 weapons for ground, which is sort of weird. Throw an air map, just a little bit. It is building, so we got 3 zealots in production and way, so it's like doing a +1 ground build on an air map, which is not good. And here come the mutas. I think this is going to be short-lived. Purple is indeed lucky when it spawns purple. And unfortunately, if you don't really have air defense and the mutas show up at the normal time at 5:50 to 6 minutes, you're sort of in trouble. Doesn't look good. And at this point, Shmoo taps out, and Purple Swarm, we've got one more game, another game here in the losers bracket. And this will be on Third World, Shmoo versus Purple Swarm. We'll see what they take here for openers. Got a 9 pool with a drone cancel there. 9 pool into expand of some sort. Versus an FFE. That's sort of an unlucky draw for Zerg, as it's not the most economic Zerg opening versus what's a Forge Fast Expand, which you're not going to break. Although the cannon placement here is breakable. But with the third cannon, not really likely to have a target. So Purple Swarm takes the third base there in the bottom right, and the gas. We'll see what Shmoo decides to do as far as tech pads go. And what what happens to Purple Swarm if its opponent has its color? Is that lucky or unlucky? And it looks like we have lots of hydras being made here. This might be some sort of a hydra bust. There's 3 cans there. That's not really enough to stop a dedicated hydra bust. More like 5 or 6. Oh, here it's going to come. And that's going to be a really clean bust. And at this point, we're pretty toast as Protoss. Unless you're aiming with Probe Micro, it's not good. And the probes all get kite to death, and here come the Hydra. Let's see how it does at the ramp here. And without really any combat units to speak of. Well, it gets a couple glints here on the high ground, which is pretty good, but there's 20 Hydras down there. There's no holding that. So they make their way in, and that will move Purple Swarm up from the losers bracket into the finals for a McRae versus Purple Swarm finals. So we'll load that one next. Game 1 on Transistor. Alright, let's see what we got here for openers. We've got McRae in yellow is Protoss, of course, spawning in the middle left, with doing a 10-12 gateway opener. And Zerg doing it's either an overpull or a 9-pull. Okay. It's more like a 9. McRae sort of rallying to workers here to start the game, but these enemies are sort of separated over here on the right. So he's made it up to 4 zealots. There's not really very many rings. So that wasn't really a good fight for Purple Swarm to take here at the start. And McRae is going right up to core. Purple Swarm's grabbing gas for link speed. McRae is already up at 3 gateways and a shield battery. Link speed started. This is not quite close enough in link count. It's too few. There's another 4 or 5 lanes here for it to be even. Link struggle getting their own way, backing up here, pre-wing speed, bleeding quite a few of them. And the 4 gateways are complete, and goon productions are here going to start shortly. Not enough lanes, 24 versus 14 supply. Fire tech starts, still bleeding in here on retreat. Backed all the way up into the main. Yeah, that's just too many. Too many units. Had too many wings early. 26 to 2, and that's gonna be it for this game 1. So McRae takes game 1 of the finals. We've got game 2 on Third World. McGrave in the bottom left is purple, and Purple Swarm in the top right as brown. Let's sort of go through the opening stages here. So we've got a 10-12 gate again versus this 9-pool build. It looks to be the same build openers as we had last game, but just a different map. Latency controllers, are going to get these front gateways again. It appears so. So they did a good job cutting out here and cutting off the gateways here on the edge. I think we've got an identical build as we've seen the last 3 times we've played. Last 4 times, I guess. One zealot is separated. You could kill that one. I wonder if we'll figure that out. Oh, it does. The rest come down. That's a really good pickoff. This lane count's a lot more even. 10-11, first one's actually ahead on supply, on army supply. Much closer this time. Get some really good fights here at the base. And surrounds on the zealots as they come down. Really excellent fights as they come down the ramp. But then it tries to push up and engage one at a time a little bit too much and loses some of this, sort of equalizes. The Purple Swarm's still got a pretty good lead here. 10. As long as it's within a third, it's close. Let's keep coming up, doing well. But the shield battery makes the difference there, makes that hold. Now we got 14-6, so now McRae's got a pretty good size army lead. But it's not all together here, so Purple Storm's able to get some nice pickoffs. Alright, so now McRae's starting to think about moving out. 14-7. And this third base in the corner is up. Barely enough to take this fight. It's going to be close. Not retreating. Still straight zealot production out of this raid. Straight lanes out of Purple Swarm. This really is quite the masterclass in Lone versus Zealots and small unit micro box. This is about as good as it gets at the moment. It's excellent. Some of this stuff is on par with previous units too. Being able to dive and surround and pick off individual units like this, it's really pretty great. Sometimes it makes mistakes and things, but overall it does pretty well. Armor supplies here, so this is really even. 14. It keeps getting these nice little pickoffs like this, but then it suicides the chunk over on the side. It's interesting. Take this fight down here, but then it'll also take this one, which it really shouldn't. It's like one good fight triggers another bad one. I wonder if the unit pickoff sim triggers the other sim or something. Interesting. So it's going to get a good fight on this side. And that fight on the top, it's going to retreat. Yeah, interesting. But Purple Swarm's here is getting pushed back, but the mutas are starting to come out. So how are we doing on army? Only two goons, and we've got 4 mutas in production. But can Purple Swarm hang on here long enough? You know, they might lose this base by the time these mutas get here. Here come the mutas. Oh, it's doing a little bit of harassment over here with the second army, but this is not enough to hold this. The mutas are coming in, but they're not firing on the zealots always reliably. It's going to try and fight, but it's going to lose a lot of these. We got 30 to 70, way 28 to 70 on the dip. 26 to 13. Half the army supply, but the mutas are out. The guns really need to come help. The zealots really need to fill up these buildings as much as best they can. Stargate's going to be completed here. And the grid has almost double the supply. We're getting some really good fights here with the mutas, but the worker count for Purple Swarm is so low. It's down at 16, now it's up to 18, both a few more. These aren't firing reliably and not group up the margin of attacks. Massive economics from this wave here though. Just double the workers. So the supply lead is decreasing, meat count's down to 8. Purple Swarm is stabilized somewhat. Army supplies are equal, so it's turning a little bit. Some good chase thoughts there on the Corsair. And the Grave's still building zealots, which is not really what it needs. Nope, it's gone to straight goons now, and Corsair. This is a great worker pick-off, but it's going to suicide this one unit on the edge. He's doing it this time, which is sort of strange. I gets it. Oh, and a great great Scourge pick-up. Murder on these zealots with this mutas. Purple Swarm supply has recovered here. The army is actually larger. 11 mutas now. Here comes another set of Scourge. Bam. That's it, Corsair again. Still doing good work on the zealots here. Comes the Corsair. It's quite a brave Corsair. Comes right out there in the middle. I'm just going to get killed there doing that. Workers' numbers are starting to drop now. Brave. Lots of meter micro. Supplies have now equalized. We're up to 14 meters now and only 4 billions. It's not looking good. It's sort, over a period of 5-7 minutes it started to snowball. Workers are being transferred out of mains, mains mining out. It's a really quick main mine out. Now the workers have stopped. Stopped moving completely. And that looks like that's going to be the beginning of the end here. They're stalled out. The muta slaughter continues. And that's going to be it. GG. So we're 1-1. And Purple Swarm wins game 2 on another nail biter. Alright, we have another game on Transistor. And we have Purple Swarm spawning in the bottom right and McRave in the top right. Let's see if we have the same exact openers or not. Looks like that Nang pool again. And I think we're going to have 10, 12. No, we're going to have an FFE build this time. Forge Fast Expand. With a probe pool, but it's only a single cannon. Oh, what's going to happen here? Workers. Oh, indecisive Zerglings. What are we going to do? We're confused here. It ended up being a second cannon, but the workers, the Zerglings got confused. They could have just run up here and killed the main. But they got sort of confused with the pathing and the cannons and all of that. Zerg's going to take 3 hatcheries. Looks like a similar build to before. Went all the way over here with the worker and then thought better of it for some reason. Let's see how this turns out. We've got different openers now. I'm not sure what McRave's probe is doing right here. So it never ended up really building that 3rd hatchery. It thought better of it. It's sort of stuck with the 2-hatch plan. So it's sort of doing a 2-hatch meter build this time. Versus a Forge Fast Expand. And McRave has started +1 weapons. Oh, the Zerglings get all the way up in here and get confused and go the other way. Oh, that's rough. But those mutas are going to be out here pretty soon. They're going to be there by probably 6:30 game time. A little bit of a delay past ideal, but will McRave be able to handle them when they show up? Mutas are coming out. Let's see where they go. They actually end up going over here to deal with Zealots, which is a little questionable. McRave took an expand without any coverage here, which is pretty crazy. And Purple Swarm's going to pick that up. Purple Swarm has these sort of entertaining Overlord parties. Alright, so he picks up the Expo, but can do anything down over here on this side. Oh, and the mutas find the workers in the main, unprotected by the cannons here. That is the end of a lot of probes, sadly. Still continuing muta production here. The probes keep getting transferred up here, which is just feeding. Micro spreading out there, picking up units, and going here and grab this cannon. But McRave is really on the back foot here. sort of gotten out of control at this point. It's already at twice Protoss supply. So many mutas all over the place here. Mutas are sort of struggling here, not sure what to do, but they kind of decide to attack. Graves trying to stabilize, but there's just so many mutalists. 14 mutalists, 5 on the cannons. With only one cannon left and 9 mutalists. It's not good. It's just going to be clean up from this point forward. So, Purple Swarm is going to take game 3 or 1-2 in the finals. Alright, and funny enough, so the next match is on Sparkle, and because McRave crashes whenever he's behind on Sparkle, the same thing that happens in the previous game on Sparkle between these two occurs, where McRave doesn't build any defense and 6 mutas show up and it ends the game because he doesn't build the cannons early enough at the proper timing. And that game was a crash, which I was unfortunately not able to recover one of the replays for. So in true bot fashion, we end the AIST with a crashed game that I cannot show, ironically. But it was a good finals. Good job to all the contestants. Thank you very much for participating in the AIST. We will have another season in January, February based around the same concepts, and I will upload the replays and the rest of the information to the website for everyone to review and take a look at later. And thank you very much again. Always fun. Take care, guys.